The article is called Relief from Suffering and Exile is the Attainment of the 10 Sayings. It is impossible to write the complete order from the beginning of the lesson. I am only writing its meaning. It was accepted in the Baal Shem Tov group to believe that each of Israel should hear the 10 sayings on Mount Sinai every day. The Rav began to explain this. He said that what happened once on Mount Sinai indeed does not cease. It means that it is not about a material event, and even if it's somehow indeed reflected in our material world, it was only a reflection of the fact that in the spiritual worlds such a revelation of light occurred, and it continues even now. Because in the spiritual, there is no disappearance. Nothing disappears there. He further said that the past Sabbath was the Sabbath of consolation, which is usually observed after the fast of the destruction of the temple. At the time when the prophets Nashamu are read, the Torah reading also includes the giving of the Torah, for there is a connection between the Torah and the prophets. What is the consolation for all the suffering and exile, perhaps? To hear and comprehend the Torah and its 10 utterances. This is the consolation for all the suffering that exists in exile. For receiving the Torah and liberation are one, and thus indeed extends the Aleph, or the Master of the world. But there is a great burden in receiving the Torah, for there are contradictions and obstacles at every step along the way. And he also remembered that all calamities come into the world for Israel. Israel is mentioned in the singular form, and he also said that even at the moment, when the whole world has not yet tipped the scale of merit, and still feels suffering in the world, one must also say indeed, certainly, in fact, the whole world was created just for me. That is, even in those moments when a person is in concealment and developing the vessels, still must already behave as if the whole world was indeed created just for me. That is, what does this mean? That all the responsibility is on me? No one will do my correction for me? All created in this world are needed only so that I live in bestowal. Do not wait for someone else to do it at this moment. Do not demand it from the surrounding environment. Live like that yourself. Then you can achieve something, as long as you wait for someone else to do it. Or perhaps think that when others do it, you will also start. You have such a sense of calmness. You've not matured to true desires. True desires are not indeed truly calmed if someone genuinely did or did not do. Does anyone want to talk about this topic?
Rav, please explain the contradictions and various obstacles in studying the Torah.
Contradictions and obstacles are concealment in which a person does not feel the Creator. Moreover, it seems to him that the Creator acts against him. That is, he creates obstacles for him. It would seem I wanted to do something good, but it doesn't work out for me. I truly want to be in bestowal indeed, but I can't manage it. I want to come to the lesson, but I don't have time. I have work or something else. If I believe that everything is done only by the Creator, everything is from the Creator, so it turns out that he creates such obstacles for me. It arises. Contradiction arises. Why? When I want to do what he wants. It seems like I'm on the right path, but I face obstacles.
All troubles come into the world for Israel. Israel are those who strive to serve. Even those who intend to, they are already Israel, directly towards the Creator. So why do all the troubles come for them exactly?
Because only they can pray for others. Only they carry out spiritual work. Only they are engaged in correction. No one else. So for whom do you want this to come? For people who don't know how to raise a prayer. Israel is singular. Who is singular? Me. There's literally no one else here who should do something. Because people have this perception like, yes, they are all bad, they are not developing here, and I am smart here, studying Kabbalah, spiritual development. Therefore, it is urgent to convey to everyone that they should engage in their spiritual work. But you are told, stop, calm down. There is no one else but you. All problems come into the world for you, not for someone else to change something, for someone to fix something, for someone to advance somewhere. Just leave them all. Problems come for you. You are the only one here in this world. The Almighty has entrusted this work to you. Now start working hard. That's it. No excuses. No reassurances. No explanations for why you didn't do something at all. No relief in the fact that someone else isn't doing it, and therefore you also don't do it. No excuses.
And why is it said that this is a statement and not commandments?
The statement that the people of Israel heard at Mount Sinai. They heard the voice of the Creator, all the souls that stood there. They heard the voice that told them, I am truly and indeed the Lord your God, and you shall have no other gods before me. Right now in the spiritual worlds, they haven't disappeared anywhere. They can be heard. If someone attains spiritual understanding, they will hear these 10 statements now. These are not just commandments, because regarding commandments, one can say that they are written in some books, or someone told them to someone else. This is a statement that the Almighty personally said, and all 600,000 souls heard them together. Not just one person, not just one prophet, indeed, who heard, came and told someone, but suddenly, all at once, 600,000 souls. This is the uniqueness of this attainment. Such an attainment has never happened in the world.
Can I ask more about the giving of the Torah? So the holiday will happen and this event has already occurred? Is it possible that you might not be deemed worthy?
There are no limitations. There is an infinite variation of possibilities. Superposition.
Everything is for you, right? That is, the whole world is for you. I take responsibility for personal correction. Yes, but wars are happening. How can you correct that?
Think that the wars are happening because of you. The wars are happening for you, so that you pray for them not to happen. There are no other people who can pray for this. It's just you, and that's it. If it bothers you, if you see evil in it, keep in mind it's because of you. There is no one else to blame. Only because of you. Because only you can pray about it. No one else can. Only for you, for your correction, this game and world. Don't think that someone is bad. Don't think that someone else needs to be corrected. Someone else. Only you. That's all. This mindset is very important for people who want to develop internally. It eliminates any excuses to shift your work onto someone else. And even if it's not the case that there is someone else working on correction, we really should not care. If you want, of course, to advance somewhere. Okay, the next article, return to the Almighty to the level where you no longer return to your foolishness. The Rav said that we cannot return perfectly to the Almighty because even when we awaken in the qualities not for the Torah, in order to reach the state for the Torah, to do what is said by Him, we do not do this in a way that we do not return to our foolishness. This means to completely and entirely devote oneself to making the Almighty pleased, and the body will be as if dead, departed from the world. Therefore, indeed, in essence, acceptance here means to be in a state where you no longer focus on yourself and feel joy from serving the Almighty. Acceptance must be precisely in joy, in the qualities of, and when the wicked perish, the righteous rejoice. At the moment of acceptance for the future, there is no need to recall regrets about the past, because the account starts right now, from the present moment. The Almighty does not judge you the past. Do not start criticizing. It's not for me to do. Who am I? Maybe I'm unworthy. I've made so many mistakes. I'm so really worthless. Remove it. Look at the present moment. Now He has chosen you. Rejoice in this and begin. But acceptance for the future must be there, despite the fact that it involves the awakening of the body, and for the sake of the name of the Torah, it is called a borrowed sword. It needs to be used to kill the body forever, and to be as if departed from the world, despite being forced to engage in other matters afterward. But at the precise moment when you actively engage in such yichudim, to feel the divine reality, the Creator's will, and cleave to Him, at that moment, remove any other settings. Remove the past that reminds you that you disconnected from the Creator yesterday, or perhaps even before that you don't feel Him, that you have concealment, that you will start engaging in nonsense again. Remove it and focus in the present moment on the fact that you are cleaving to Him, and there is nothing but this reality, and that it will last forever. Believe in this at that moment. You must be in the attributes of holiness, as if the Almighty gives Him pleasure or respect. The state is impossible and not intended. That is, light is extended to you. Light, it is impossible not to accept it, because you are in contact with the Creator. Creator is the reality of pleasure. but you did not intend to take it. That was not the purpose of the contact with the Creator. It was to bring him joy. But because of this also, light is extended to you, because in the reality of the Creator, it is always there. Therefore, on one hand, it is impossible to touch it, just like that, without feeling the light. And on the other hand, you do not intend to take this light. And this will bring benefit even more than self-sacrifice, which a person can imagine in their perception, that they are ready to give everything for the Creator. For this one must first return to the answer in simplicity, as it is said, with all your hearts and all your soul. This property is called distancing from evil, and it must be done with joy, fulfilling the prohibitive commandments of the Torah. What are the prohibitive commandments? Things that must not be done. Do not steal, do not kill, observe kashrut, and so on. That is, prohibitions where a screen is included. The power of resistance to acceptance. Do not draw the light onto yourself, do not focus on yourself. And only after this can you fulfill and do good. These are the active, permissive commandments of the Torah, where the Almighty told us that we can engage in active deeds or receive the light. And there is no difference between the completed deeds of the Torah and the commandments. And also there is no difference if he cannot perfectly fulfill the commandment to please the Almighty. Then all his Torah is imperfect and he is called an absolute sinner. Why? In spirituality there is no a bit. Either you are here or you are there. Either you are with the Creator or you are with yourself. And there is also no break in the qualities of turning away from evil and doing good. For there is no condition in the middle, inevitably moving towards the future, only if God forbid they return back. One must immediately accept for the future the quality of while he is there. While he is there means, for example, we are now sitting in a lesson. This is the state of while he is there. That is absolutely believe that the lesson will indeed never end. That this state we are indeed currently in will not end. And to enter this state totally with a lack of attachment to the Creator. If a person does not believe, then his external perception will depict to him that the lesson will end in 25 minutes. And it will remind him of the past. This material perception from the past distracts us from totally entering the stages. What is the solution? To believe that this lesson will never end. And at that moment, while he is there, as Baal HaSulam says, the Almighty interacts with you to the fullest. You entered there to the fullest, and he responds to you in the same way. And believe that this will never end. And even if it is not for the sake of the Torah's name, accept it upon yourself perfectly. And you should do the same, if necessary, 1,000 times, until the entire goal is transformed into the state of one commandment leads to another. But do not drag despair, which is absolute death. There may be several reincarnations, likely. It turns out one commandment leads to another. These are such total entries throughout the day. From moment to moment you do it, then after some time you enter again. And again you enter the lack of attachment. Connect with the Creator, again and again. And you believe at that moment that despite the fact that the previous contact ended, now it will just never end. Now it will be eternal. And so from time to time. But this state of despair should not be dragged out, because such a state is triggered that you are not being heard. You are not being answered. All your efforts are in vain. And a person must do this in faith above reason. Even if he has accepted the attribute of doing what he has said, or I am to my beloved, one must be, as it is said in the book of Zohar, in one incense. In a certain sense, they are very incensed, and it will never cease. Precisely in joy. In any other form, he will not succeed, because he does not sever the connection with the body so that it becomes as if dead, departed from the world. One must certainly and indeed bless the body with the blessing for the deceased. Blessed is the true judge, truly. Thus a person must say to his body, goodbye, you are no more, you are dead, forever and gone. And this must be done by the person himself during his lifetime, for himself, but not in any way for others. Because usually we say this when someone has died, God forbid such a blessing, but we must say it for ourselves. Therefore, the letters of the word truth, emet, come from the word emot, will die. One must also bless with the blessing, good and does good. That is, to do good and extend faith. But acceptance, even if it is in the property of nefesh, is the hindrances all the days of his life will be in perfection. These are the general hindrances. That is a general lack, the lack of a common soul. And just like the individual hindrances at each level, also, despite the need to accept hindrances in the property, that's what he said, that is, acts ultimately in order to fulfill his desire, and always speaks of the Almighty, God of faith, but there is no yoke. But despite seeing rejection, resistance, obstacles, and challenges, this is indeed necessary to make perfect acceptance from the letters of the heart. That is, it develops me, such as my vessels, property of prayer, which is a special commandment, even if you are sure that you will achieve the desired salvation, which comes in the vessel of prayer. There is no reverse side. There is only one force. Therefore, it is necessary to know that in every awakening to respond, that is, to return to the Creator, to cling to the Creator, even if it is not for the sake of the name, one must believe that at that moment the Almighty also says, "Return to me," that is, to be worthy for the sake of the name. Even if we currently have no attainment at this moment, in the fact that it is also impossible for the sake of her name, the main thing is to say, one must make a perfect response, a return to the Creator and to free oneself from the snake's skin, that is, essentially, from this materialistic perception, that cycles us only on ourselves, indeed, to be righteous. Even if I cannot reveal this and am not ready to serve for her name's sake in the inanimate property, that is, the very first spiritual level, where one must take action even if you feel nothing. But those people who in a past reincarnation completed the inanimate level must return to the response and begin to be in the properties for her name's sake, and be in adhesion throughout all times of the day, so that the desires of his heart do not cease the adhesion. It was indeed the year Shabbat, and after it came Toshag, a hint at complete attainment. So the response is in the property of I am for my beloved. When you take upon yourself the property, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? Despite the fact that we say that the Almighty must complete it, only then does one merit for the name's sake. Everything is said, but you cannot free yourself from it. You need to make every effort, and this includes all efforts. Moreover, the other side does not rule over the vessels of prayer, even in what seems to you that you will complete it yourself. It is good to make a prayer for achieving the desired before this, and take what is received into the vessel of prayer, and not in the state that I did it with my own hand in pride. And this is indeed good for everything, both material and truly spiritual. And to the Almighty there is no difference between them. Only a thought that serves the benefit of the created is considered material. Listen once more. To the Almighty there is no difference between material and spiritual. But where is there still a difference? A thought that indeed serves the true advantage of the created is truly considered material. And thoughts and all things that indeed serve the Creator are called spiritual. Questions?
Look, if you totally immerse yourself in the spiritual, it's somewhat understandable. But how do you return to the material world afterwards? You don't want to return.
Don't return if you don't want to. When a person doesn't want to, they don't return. A person is desire. If they don't want to, for any reason, they don't return at all. But we want to. That's why we return. Who is forcing you? Who is forcing you to leave Creator? Who is forcing you to disconnect from Him? Who perhaps besides yourself? No one. It's you who decides that. So don't tell me you don't want to. You want to. That's why you disconnect. So what to do? Pray, ask for help so that you don't want to. So that the Almighty changes your nature.
If you can't give something up, that is mortify yourself completely. Does that mean such faith is imperfect?
Yes, but He offers a solution. To make brief, short entries into these states throughout the day. And at the moment you enter, believe totally that it will never end. Despite the fact that your mind and perception will tell you that right now it will end. Now we're going to watch another series or something else. I don't know what everyone is doing. The conviction that this will end now. You need to remove it, bury it for 2 minutes. I don't know how each person enters. Some for 2 minutes, some for half a minute, some for an hour. At that moment, when you enter, remove all of it and believe that it will never end. And then, when it ends, after 5 minutes again, go in there and believe that it will never end. And then after 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go in there again and believe that it will never end. And so on all day. That's it. There's no other way.
In those moments, don't extend, for example, shame or regret, thinking it's just only for 2 minutes, then I'll just go back.
No, if you extend it, you won't enter totally, then the Almighty. You won't respond, because in His reality, there's no such thing as a little bit. Either you're there or you're not there. Either you're a sinner or you're righteous. There's no middle ground. The world is created either for absolute sinners or for absolute righteous people. That's it. That's how you should think.
I might have misheard, but I heard borrowed sword.
Borrowed, because it's not your sword. Because you're not there yet. You're not at the end of correction yet. And you need to enter these states as if you are already there. Again and again. 100 times a day. That's why you kind of borrow it from those levels that have completed their correction. And you fight with your evil inclination until it becomes yours. This is the borrowed sword. A commandment leads to a commandment, meaning that your appetite comes with eating. You start making such approaches, you begin to feel a connection to the Creator, and you'll have the desire to go there again, to go there again. There's no a little bit. Either you are in impurity or you are in holiness. Either you are with the Creator or you are not. Don't make things up. I studied a little here in this particular location and enjoyed a bit of relaxing and soothing foot massage. There's no a little bit. Either you are here or you are not here. Either you are attached to the Creator or you are attached to yourself. That's all.
The whole world was created just for me. When I first heard this, I had such an internal egoistic understanding, such an internal and emotional state that we should only focus on ourselves, fix only our own faults, focus only on ourselves. On the other hand, we learned that we should not focus on ourselves, but should focus on the Creator.
This is not called focusing on oneself. This is called focusing on correction. Focusing on oneself means constantly digging into oneself. Well, what do I feel? I feel good. Bad? Did I just get a good answer? A bad answer? Did the light reach out to me? Enjoying it? Not enjoying it? Have I already been given respect for helping everyone here or not? All these diggings should be removed. This is not called focusing on oneself. No one wants to focus on correction. You don't get paid for that. Correction is done so that others feel good. This is not called focusing on oneself. This is called focusing on giving. Not living for oneself is what it's called. Focusing on correction.
Thank you. Rav, a question about prayer. I heard that if we want to do something like we first raise a prayer and into these vessels, which are created during the prayer, with this mindset, we already do something and the light clothes itself in the vessels of prayer. So always raising a prayer, meaning a short one, a prayer in your own words before each action.
That's correct, but he said something else here. He said it's better for us to receive an answer in the vessels of prayer than to receive an answer in the vessels of what I am owed. Yes, I did it. I am owed a salary. Because subjectively, a person will have such a feeling. Here I made efforts. The Almighty should give me. I did the work. And he says, it's better to make such vessels of prayer so that you ask for help, that it's not owed to you, but the Almighty saves you. It's worth receiving an answer in such vessels. But if you receive in the vessels of I am owed, there will be a breakage of the vessels.
Thank you.
If he acts for the created beings, for example, I did a good deed so that this person would feel good. But I do not include the Creator in this. That is, I do not do it to please the Creator, but I do it to please this particular person right now. He says this is called material perception. If you really act to make this person feel good indeed, because the Almighty commanded so, because there is such a commandment, because you are fulfilling His will to please Him, then it will be spiritual. But if not, if you do it simply because you like it, because you are a good person, because I don't know what else, because someone needs help, but this is not the Creator's command. It is not a commandment, and you are not doing it to please Him, then it will be material. The actions do not change. The perception changes for what and with what purpose you act. So you choose, you decide what you want, because the light comes according to the vessel that is built. If your vessel is built on what you value the Creator's response, then He will give you that response. But if you value a vessel built on needing something from a person, then a person will definitely give you the answer. So decide who you need. There is no such thing as, and this is good, and I need this, and I need that. Load everything up. There is no such thing here. Here, either you are with the Creator or you are with people, as you wish. Your right to choose.
Rav, please tell me, perhaps this blessing, blessed is the true judge. We say this to ourselves, right?
In internal work, we must say this to ourselves. It means that we shouldn't just say it out loud. We need to reach such a perception that my body, my desire to receive, has died. At the moment I enter the king's chambers, I am only interested in him. I no longer concern myself with myself. I am not there. That's it. Only he exists.
For example, there's a walk, right? Can we possibly relate this to a commandment to serve in a healthy body in some manner?
In a healthy body, it's a commandment, or the walk turns into a conversation with the Creator. This is the commandment of prayer. You go for a walk and talk to him at that moment, while your body is disconnected by observing the different landscapes that pass by its eyes. And it doesn't bother you. It is hypnotized like a mouse before a boa constrictor and looks at the landscapes. Ah, how beautiful. While it is hypnotized, you talk to the Creator.
Well, or for example, watch a movie with your husband. So can this also be turned into a commandment and holiness?
Depends on the movie. There are movies that, God forbid, you should watch.
Normal ones.
Otherwise, you might start wanting to do what those movies promote in any conceivable and imaginable way. And there, as a rule, they promote what the Almighty does not like. But if you know how to watch movies and make yichudim from them, then you can turn it into a commandment and learn to see the structure of the spiritual worlds from any aspect. See the Creator in everything if you can do that.
So if you can translate any action into Yichudim, then basically will it already be holiness?
Yes, yichudim saves us from everything.
There was a mention of getting an answer from the Creator or getting an answer from a person. Does that depend on me?
You ultimately decide what to tune your desire to. That is, what you want is what you will be given. If you want respect from people, recognition, attention, whatever else someone wants, that's what they'll be given. But the Creator will not be given because no vessel for the Creator. For the Creator, a vessel is needed, wanting only Him, and no one else. As our song goes, no, there is no one but God alone. He responds to those who need Him.
Did I understand correctly that if my vessel is tuned to the Creator, that I want to hear everything only from Him and feel only Him, then when I communicate with the person, I already listen to them as a response from the Creator?
I don't know. I don't know what you want from a person.
Well, for example, simply an ordinary everyday conversation in the family.
If you want something from a person, then the response will be from the person. The truth is that you don't want a response from the Creator, but you want a response from a person. He knows that you can't, and He knows that none of us can. And He says, I know, friends, that you indeed can. That's why I give you away. Make such attempts repeatedly throughout the day, 100 times a day or more. Enter totally and believe that in the end, of correction you have clung to Him and will never detach again, even though you will detach and start engaging in your nonsense again. Enter once more, and once more, once more, and spend your day constantly like this, until a new nature is developed. These small efforts accumulate into a large sum, and will grant you a new nature. This doesn't happen immediately. Truly.
So ideally later on, even when I'm dealing with everyday matters, I simultaneously feel His constant presence.
Yes, but there are nuances. It's not that you will constantly feel His presence, but rather that you will want to enter these states. And when you don't want to, it will seem strange to you that you don't want it. It will be strange for you. How can I live in a different perception? For me, that's not normal. To live in a perception where I don't want to be attached to the Creator.